80 million eligible voters did not vote in the last presidential election. How can we foment some sort of meaningful change here?
With whether or not people get involved, this is such a great question, Kristen, because um, that's the real, when people ask me every day, how can I convince my deeply MAGA uncle to vote for a Democrat? And the answer is you can't. That there are people who are baked into the system in a certain way right now, and they're not going to change. And that's just not the United States. That happens around the world and every political system. People do that for one reason or another. The trick to changing society is to mobilize those people who are either soft voters or who didn't get involved previously. And this is a place where I'm going to go all historical again. You saw a huge difference in the 1890s. In fact, this is how you get the progressive era when people who were interested in changing the political system actually went into farming districts or into working districts and said, listen, you probably don't know what's going on, and started new newspapers and had picnics and had political rallies and encouraged more people to participate in the political system. And when that happened, especially in the 1890s across the American plains and the American South, the people who were in charge in Washington, and that would be the Benjamin Harrison administration, which, someday I'll do a deep dive on because there's a reason you don't know about the Benjamin Harrison administration. But anyway, they didn't pay any attention to it. They're like, they're farmers. They're just going to vote for us because they always vote for us. And what they discovered in the midterm elections of 1890, which remains one of the biggest shifts in American history, was that once people paid attention to the fact that the policies were unequal and were favoring railroad industries and industrialists over ordinary people, they got out there and voted. And simply showing up made the difference. But what made them show up was being informed about what was really happening by their neighbors. And that I think we're seeing around the country, but that's the way you change American politics is you talk to your neighbors and not say you're an idiot or you need to change the way you vote. You say, hey, are you aware that there is a private prison going in next to our elementary school? And I've got a real issue with that. And that's what makes people show up. And it does work.
Yeah, 80 million eligible voters did not vote in the last presidential election. How can we foment some sort of meaningful change here?